The United Nations has released an investigation finding that both Israel and Hamas have committed war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Well, charity Save the Children wants a formal mechanism to monitor and report on crimes against children committed in the conflict. Head of Humanitarian Policy and Advocacy, Alexandra Saieh, joins us now from Washington. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us on News Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
I believe we've got a little bit of our delays in our questions, so we'll just ask our viewers to be patient. Alexandra, the report that's been released by the United Nations says grave violations have been committed by Israeli security forces and Hamas against children in Gaza and in Israel. What does this report reveal?
This report reveals an unprecedented number of grave violations have been committed against children in Gaza, in the West Bank, and Israel. And I just want to say that it is just absolutely shameful and appalling that we are in a situation where we're seeing such a large amount of grave violations against children, not just in Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel, but in many conflicts across the world, including the Congo, Somalia, Sudan, Nigeria, and other places. And every time that the international community, that member states allow and shield governments from and other actors from accountability, it fuels a climate of impunity. And that's exactly what we've seen here. We are seeing children in Gaza being killed, maimed, and denied humanitarian assistance at an unprecedented rate. Gaza is now the most dangerous place to be a child, and the situation is showing no signs of stopping anytime soon.
Well, that's right, Alexandra. I mean, the images over the past several months have been horrifying, particularly in terms of the crimes committed against children. Could you update us on what the situation is now for children, particularly in Rafah, where so many children are starving to death?
Exactly. I mean, several months ago, humanitarian organizations warned of a looming famine in northern Gaza. And what we've actually seen over the last few months is that this risk has actually spread to southern Gaza, including Rafah. Nearly 1 million people have fled Rafah over the past several weeks due to an expanded Israeli ground incursion and bombardment in the area. And what we've seen over the past couple of weeks is that Israeli bombardment has actually intensified in the middle area, exactly where families from Rafah were told to go to. Just this past week, we also saw an attack in a so-called safe zone of Al-Mawasi. We've seen these attacks on displacement camps, on shelters, on UN facilities over and over again. And so the situation is continuing to be dire. We hope and we've called for a ceasefire, but still it just shows no signs of slowing down. And in fact, we've seen a decline in the amount of humanitarian assistance that has entered the Gaza Strip over the last few weeks.
Alexandra, curious to get what the feeling is at the moment on the ground in Washington, where you are, in terms of the delayed progress towards a ceasefire that the United States government has been involved in negotiating. Is there any signs that this is going to happen?
What we're hearing from people in Gaza is that, they're paying attention to what politicians and leaders are saying, but on the ground, it shows no sign of slowing down, unfortunately. And so we're hoping that we see an end to this nightmare sometime soon. But unfortunately, we've seen these ceasefire negotiations happen over and over and again, not leading to much. Even when we had a pause back in December, we saw a pause to the fighting for a few weeks, but really what we need is a durable and definitive ceasefire. The destruction and the death that has been created in Gaza is so vast that for us as humanitarian agencies to do anything meaningful, to deliver assistance on the ground and to even begin to help people recover, we really need a durable end to the fighting, a durable end and a durable ceasefire immediately.